Browns camp instead of a Rams camp?
Nah, it's good. It's good. I mean, I like it out here. I like it a lot. You know, Ohio. You know, that's where I grew up and everything like that. I think I look good in brown and orange. So I think I'm doing my thing with the colors and stuff. But nah, it's good to be back around teammates and everything like that. You get that month and a half off to digest everything, and then you come back and you just ready to work.
Do you already feel like part of the team after going through spring, as little as you did? But
Yeah, I felt like part of the team the first day here. You know, the guys were understanding of the circumstances. They gave me my little bit of time to, remorse and everything like that. But then I feel like I'm a brother. I feel like I've been with these dudes all year, all OTAs.
Did you during the offseason, did you try to find a way to like connect with some guys like Alex or Isaiah or guys in the room?
Yeah, I got some training with a couple of the guys. Me and Q had ended up going to a wedding together. I got to see A. Wright and a couple of the other guys while I was on a little vacation. I got to spend some good time with everybody.
I know you haven't been teammates long with Denzel Ward and Grant Delpit, but just seeing them get those extensions, how excited were you for not only them, but what it says about the defense and the level you guys are trying to compete at?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, you can tell they're very humble. You know, they get in the locker room, everybody, they get paid. You know how guys are, oh, yeah, you got paid. You know, they real humble and everything like that, try to downplay it. Man, that's big money, and I'm very happy for them and their families. You know, they're able to, rejoice and all that. But they came back the next day just ready to work. It wasn't anything about the money or anything like that. They're ready to move on.
Does this feel different than your first two camps with the 49ers?
Oh, Rams. But nah, you good, you good. Nah, it don't feel no different. At the end of the day, football is just football. You just work. Obviously it's a different area, different, vibe, different playbook, and I'm ready for all of it.
Jared, sacks aren't everything. We all know that. But what do you think the next evolution of your sack game brings you to?
I mean, it's just finishing. I mean, when you look at the numbers and everything like that, and I'm never a big stat guy, big number guy, but to be translucent with it and to talk about the statistics of it all, I'm one of the highest pressure rates, but pressures don't mean anything if you can't finish. Getting to the quarterback means nothing if you can't finish. Yeah, it throws him off a little bit and messes with his head, but, sacks is what puts them back a little bit, and that's just, finishing is just my biggest part.
How many times would you like to finish this year?
100, 1,000. Like, I want to finish as many times as possible. As many times as I get back there, I want to finish.
Jared, the Browns are hopeful that they can sign Jadeveon Clowney. So I was just wondering, what are your thoughts on that, and how do you guys think? How do you think that you two guys would pair together?
Yeah, I mean, Clowney's obviously one of the best rushers I've ever, watched. Watching his film from college and everything like that. That's one of the biggest reasons I even ever played DN. So, having that dude in the room would be, monumental for me. But I will say, having that vet presence is probably even bigger than just, my personal honor of him. Having that vet presence, someone that's been around the game, someone that can teach you things like that. That's why I went to the Sack Summit, to be around, Von Miller, Max Crosby, all these, high-end rushers, because you can learn so much from them.
Did you get a chance to talk to him when he was here yesterday visiting?
No, I didn't even get to see him. I heard about word of mouth.
When you talk about finishing, what do you think is that next step for you? How do you go about finishing?
I think it's just, working on grip strength and everything like that. You can get your hands on them, you can throw them around and everything like that. But with the game, the way it's evolving, quarterbacks are getting stronger. They'll be able to move a little bit faster, everything like that. So if you get your hands on them, you might not get another chance to do that. You just got to handle it right then and there.
Jared, obviously you're focusing on getting acclimated yourself, but as training camp wraps up and what you've seen so far from the guys around you, what do you like about maybe the depth of the pieces on the defensive line, especially on the ends?
Yeah, I mean, I feel very confident that if I go out of the game, somebody can come up right behind me and handle that. It's not something I've always been used to. Sometimes I got to go into the game, I got to go 7, 8, 9, 10 plays, get off a play, and then go back in. And having those people behind you that, you can trust to go in and help hold things down for a play or two while I get my little breath out, maybe 3, and then let me come back in and just dominate. Having that, that second string, that little bit of depth that's monumental.
Jared, there's been a lot said about just your ability and willingness to come in immediately in the spring and start being a vocal leader, not really, almost like you've been here for years. Well, where did you maybe develop that over the course of your career? Why is that something that you kind of felt comfortable doing as soon as you got here?
Yeah, I mean, that's just honestly from my dad. My dad's always been a vocal person. He's always, if something's wrong, if something's not the way that he would like it up to his standards, he's going to voice it. And that's something I've just carried with my whole life, from when I was in college, high school, everything like that, just going all the way up to the league. That's something I did with the Rams, and I got in trouble with it a couple times at the Rams, being too vocal, but that's just something, that's the way I am. I just want I hold everybody to a high standard because I hold myself to a high standard.
Was that with other teammates that they said you were being too vocal, or coaching staff?
Nah, it was Sean.
At the Sack Summit that you mentioned, do you learn how to develop different moves?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we watched a bunch of different players' tapes and everything like that. When my tape came up, Vaughn and Max and Cam Jordan, they were quick to, announce, hey, the best power in the league. They were like, you can walk anybody back. Once you work a move off that, you'll be unstoppable. You'll go from 7, 8, 9 sacks to 20s, going into those higher numbers. And he was like, that's just what it takes. And we were not only just talking about it when we got onto the field. They was able to tell me, hey, try this. Vaughn took me aside for a good 10, 15, 20 minutes. It was really giving me that vet presence of like, hey, here's what you got to do. Try this move. Try this move. It doesn't work for me, but this might work for you. Or this works really well for me. Try this.
When and where was that?
It was in Vegas on July. It was before the wedding, so I think it was July 10th.
So that's your kind of theme for this camp, personally, to develop more moves?
Yeah, I think right now is the time to try out things and, figure out what works for you. Obviously, I tried so many things during the offseason, on bags and on air, but trying it against, finally, against these actual, legit tackles that can actually really work. And, they're trying to get better also, and they're trying to see these new moves too. It will help me figure out what I can add to the game.
Hey, do you think it would be unfair if fans compare you to Myles Garrett?
I mean, I think it's a bottom line, don't compare me to anyone. I'm not Myles, I'm not this guy, I'm not that guy, I'm Jared. I'm going to put a whole standard to what DN should be like, and that's going to put me against like what DN should be like. Don't put me against a specific player. I'm going to raise the standard of any defensive player, period.
So do you think that's one thing that Jadeveon could help you with if he signs here with your array of pass rush moves?
100%. I mean, obviously we're signing him, to help on the field, to help, the team develop as a whole. But I think me personally, selfishly, I think it would be very, helpful to have that vet presence around me.
Do you need to
Kind
prove
of
it?
Go ahead, Scott.
Do you need to prove in training camp that you've got those counter moves before you try them in a game, or is that something you already feel like get to week one, you can go try those counters to your power?
I mean, you got to try it every day. You can't just pull anything out in game, because you pull something out in game and you look dumb, you're going to be all over social media looking stupid. Nah, you got to try that in practice, and that goes for anything in life. You got to practice it 100 times, 1,000 times, so you can't get it wrong. You can't just try it one time in practice, it works, and try it in game, because when you go up against these Trent Williams, these Deion Dawkins, these real legit tackles, they're going to mess you up doing that.
Jared, just along the lines of trying out all these moves, I guess when people talk about you as a pass rusher, they obviously bring up your power first, but is there any part of your game that you either think is underrated, or like you think you really have room to grow in terms of how you're getting to quarterbacks?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care about too much what people think about my game, like if it's underrated, overrated, anything like that. I have a lot of things I want to grow. I mean, even you ask me about anything, I want to grow my power even more. Like, I just want to become better at every aspect of the game constantly, whether it's the run, whether it's speed moves, counter moves, going inside, going outside, anything. I just want to become better.
Jared, do you feel like you're going to be someone on this defensive line and on this defense in general that kind of brings guys together? Anytime I saw video clips of you, like even in LA, you're just kind of really, just gregarious and a guy's guy with your teammates. What impact do you think you can have on this defense in that way?
I just want to elevate everyone around me. Obviously, I want to be the best player I can possibly be, get all the sacks, get the defensive player of the year, go to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. Obviously, I want to win all of that. The biggest thing I care about is just what's happening today, and that's just to make my teammates better out there in any aspect I possibly can.
Jared, Coach Monken mentioned the possibility of starters maybe playing some of the preseason games, which obviously never happened when you were under Sean. Just as far as trying out those new moves and maybe during the joint workouts against the Bills, how beneficial is it getting that work?
Yeah, I mean, especially, when you talk about the Bills, I'm very excited just because Deion's someone I'm very, I love to go up against, somebody I love to work against. I'm very excited for that, to try out some moves against, a different type of tackle. Obviously they're going to learn my habits out here very quickly after a couple of weeks of going up against each other every day. That's just how it naturally goes. But when you go up against somebody you see maybe once a year, because I've only seen them 2 years ago, it's going to be a lot different. So I'm excited, whether we play in the preseason, whether we don't, I'm just ready to work.
Jared, we were just talking to Andrew Berry, and he said that Todd Monken is a good mix of old school discipline but new school relationships in terms of the way that he connects with you guys. I know it's early days for you, early days for Todd, but what is it about this coaching style that you think is going to be a good fit here?
Yeah, no, he definitely got that old school vibe, like that real nitty gritty. Hey, let's get to work. Let's not play around, everything like that. Off the field, he's the nicest dude. He's conversation, everything like that. On the field, you kind of like lean away from him, like you kind of like, all right, cool, I got you, coach. But no, that's just, I think it's very good to have a coach like that. Someone that can, differentiate, fun and real work.
Jared, as we were walking in here, we saw that Deion Sanders is here, and to see Shador practice and everything like that. So just with his obviously larger-than-life reputation as a defender in the NFL, are you excited to meet him and maybe talk to him a little bit today?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he's one of the best to ever do it. As a Florida State guy, I've always watched him. I always idolized him. Watching, going around the facility, you see his picture on every other wall, like it's crazy. But I'm just ready to, talk to him, get to dissect his brain a little bit about the game. Obviously, we play different positions, but you can still take a lot away from him.